Hi everyone, and welcome back to this video. So this video is a little bit of an explanation as to why there hasn't been like a completion of the Epic the Musical blanket yet, and mainly this kind of stems from the fact that I was like so ready to just have it finished and have the videos up and published last weekend and the pattern up as well at this point, and that just didn't end up happening. And I wanted to give a little bit of an explanation for that. And the long and short of it, the short of it is just the fact that I needed a longer break than I had initially intended, and the break that I had initially given myself was not long enough. So that's the short answer. The long answer is that I really wanted to have this blanket done. Like, I've been working on it for a little over a year, and I've been crocheting for a year and a half. And essentially the making of process for the Epic the Musical blanket, 90% of it was planning it and waiting for the sagas to come out and enjoying it and trying to choose the right yarn for each saga, trying to choose the right caron cake for each saga based on the colors, so that there wouldn't have to be color changes or anything like that, so that it could be an easy transition with multiple colors without color changes, without yarn changes. And a lot of that, like a lot of the initial anticipation for this blanket was kind of the waiting of it, like waiting to see what each saga would look like, waiting to see how it would be, and kind of the overall premise for each saga, so that I could choose the best yarn to fit that saga. So a lot of the anticipation was that a lot of the excitement and energy, in a way, was going towards that. And in a way, like, I know there's a part of my brain that's just like, oh, I wasn't actively working on the blanket, making the blanket for so long before I started on it, that, like, there's a part of my brain that thinks I shouldn't be needing a break from this. But there was a lot of mental and emotional planning, and there was a lot of mental and emotional energy going into the planning and the excitement for it, and wanting to have this, because I've said it before, but on other social media platforms, but Epic the Musical is what I needed when the Percy Jackson series was coming out. Epic the Musical is what I needed. Something like Epic the Musical. Well, to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, I have always been a big history fan. I've loved history, mythology for the longest time. And when Percy Jackson came out, like, something that I needed was not a story of the children of the gods in a modern setting, modern children of the gods in a modern setting. It is a very unique concept, and I totally understand why people like it, but that's not what I needed at the time when it first came out. And something like a musical, like a retelling in a modern way of an original myth, well, not necessarily original, but a retelling in a modern retelling of, modern retelling is probably not the best phrase, but a retelling in a modern format of one of those myths was what I needed. And I'm not saying that to kind of dismiss the Percy Jackson series, because it is very unique for what it is, and I feel like it started a lot of things for mythology retellings. But for me, at least personally, like I've said, that's not what I needed at the time that it came out. And and that's why, for me at least, Epic the Musical has meant so much for me. It's because, like, it's what I needed back then. Because I've always been a big music person as well. I've always loved listening to music. And that's been a big source of entertainment for me. And I've always loved musicals as well. So it's like, it was that perfect confluence of interests. Greek mythology, a retelling that I needed when I was younger, and musicals. So that's like, and getting back on topic, getting back on track. Once I started making the blanket, I feel like, not that I would have known when I started, but looking back on it in hindsight, I feel like I should have paced myself a little bit better and paced it out a little bit longer, over a little bit more time. But I was just so excited to finally be getting to starting on this, and so that I could kind of know what it would look like and know how it would be, and so I could start putting that into the pattern. I was just so excited to start that. And my thinking was like, okay, I'll make a blanket for myself, I'll have the pattern, and then I'll make the pattern available so that other people can make it. Because my thinking going into this was that this was the only blanket that I was going to make for the Epic the Musical blanket. Like, this was the only one I was going to do. I might do a second one I might do like 1 to 2 more, a second and a third one, just to try out different ways of doing it. But that will be a little further down the line in the future. But initially my thinking had been, this is the only blanket I'm making. I'm not going to be making multiple to sell this blanket. So I might as well make the pattern available. And I think a large part of my thinking was like making the pattern available, having the pattern available as soon as possible. Making it easy for beginner crocheters who are also fans of Epic the Musical. And I feel like not only pacing myself, but I feel like my approach should have been more focused on enjoying the process of making the blanket rather than trying to have the pattern ready. And like, again, there's nothing wrong with that, but just after a little while I started to get a little bit burnt out because I should have paced myself better, and my focus was not necessarily on enjoying the blanket, enjoying the process of making the blanket. And I think another factor in it too was that, like, although it was less prevalent, it was still a prevalent factor. I have made quite a few blankets in the granny square style within the span of, I want to say, 6 months. So making another granny square blanket, no matter how much I'm excited for this one, making another one, it was like, there was a part of my subconscious that was like, oh my god, it's another granny square blanket that I'm making, and I'm not getting a break. So that's essentially the answer as to why I needed a longer break than I had initially intended. And I really want to finish this blanket. I do not plan to leave this as an unfinished work in progress, as an unfinished crochet whip. That is not going to happen with this. I just need a break from it because at the end of the day, like, I really burnt myself out making it and planning and prepping for it, that this is just what needed to happen. So hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully, knock on wood, whatever, right now tentatively it might be up kind of maybe at the earliest end of April, but maybe sometime in May. So again, that's the tentative plan. It could change, it could end up being sooner or later than that, but that's kind of my tentative thought process for it right now. So Thank you all for watching and understanding. I'll see you all in my next video.